What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the MovieDash podcast brought to you by laoya.net, a podcast where we review movies, TV series, and round up the week with a discussion on an iron-hot topic in the world of cinema. I am Dashran Yohan, and joining me today to discuss this week's topic is Jin So. How are you, man?
Hello there. I'm good. I am actually more than good. I am super excited for this topic.
Me too, man. I can't wait. So, movies coming out in a few weeks' time. We are, of course, talking about, I think, probably on top of both of our anticipated lists of 2019. I am, of course, talking about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, the final episode in the Skywalker Saga. So today we're going to be discussing the film, more towards what we expect going into it and what the film needs to achieve.
People keep telling me they know me. No one does.
But I do.
I think there's no denying that whichever camp you're at, whether you love Last Jedi, whether you hate it, whether you're just neutral, whether you find it middling, that it definitely divided the fan base.
Yep, for sure.
Right? The fan base now is divided more than it has ever been, probably amplified because of the social media landscape.
Yes.
I don't know how the prequels would have been treated had it been come out in this era of social media. I don't know how Empire Strikes Back, which was frankly controversial at the time, we were not born at the time, but if we look through like old articles, reviews and all that, it was pretty, like, people were like shocked at how dark the movie was, right? So we don't know how those movies, but at least like what we can say for sure is right now, the Last Jedi has divided the fan base. Right. So what do you think, and how do you think that affects Rise of Skywalker? And what do you think J.J. Abrams should do?
So I think in terms of like if people will still watch the next film, it's a no-brainer because they're gonna want to know.
Yeah, even like those people who say boycott.
They're still gonna watch it. They're still gonna watch it. One is obviously to see if like it can save the franchise.
Yes.
But two is because they're really hardcore fans.
Yes.
They're gonna watch it either way, and
it's gonna make $1 billion hands down
for sure.
Yeah,
and Disney and all that. But in terms of what J.J. Abrams should do, I'm sort of worried that he will pull a Force Awakens in the sense that it's going to be a safe move.
Yes.
I'm not so keen on
and that's
something safe,
Yeah, that's where I kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of conflicted because, okay, so here's the thing, right? Like, what's interesting is Abrams wasn't supposed to direct Rise of Skywalker, right? It was supposed to be Colin Trevorrow. But then I think that's a longer discussion. But basically, in the end, J.J. Abrams was pulled back in. The thing is, in Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams had this tall task on his shoulders where he had to basically bridge the gap between fans of the original and fans of the prequels.
Yeah.
Because, as we know, the prequels kind of, yes, it also brought in a lot of new fans of Star Wars. Like, I think a lot of people from our generation grew up with the prequels. But it also turned off a lot of fans of the original. So that's why Abrams did what he did with Force Awakens. He wanted something nostalgic, something familiar, yet something really, really awesome. And I think for the most part, he succeeded in terms of bridging the gap. And then Rian Johnson came and, once again, like drove a wedge through the fandom. And now the fandom is once again all over the place, right? Once again, J.J. Abrams has this tall task on his shoulders to not only deliver a good film, but a film that would hopefully satisfy all factions of the now divided fan base. And hopefully by the end of Rise of Skywalker, everyone will be united again. But then that kind of, like you said, makes it seem that maybe the best way to go about it is to make a safe film, something familiar, something yet good, but familiar, something that appeals to everybody and all that. But that's not what I want to see, right? Because this is the final episode of the Skywalker Saga. You want something bold, something shocking,
That's
but
right.
not for the sake of it. Something where within the storyline makes sense and all that. But also, it doesn't just leave you happy, but there's also like a bit of like bittersweet. Some
That's right,
like a
that's
bit
right. Emotions as well,
like a
yeah.
mix of emotions and all that. And the good news is, here's what's interesting, right? A lot of people, once like Last Jedi came and went and everything, like a lot of people were like, J.J. Abrams probably hates The Last Jedi, like like Rian Johnson ruined J.J.
Yep.
Abrams' story and all these things. But J.J. Abrams himself recently has repeatedly said that he actually likes The Last Jedi, and more than that, he feels that The Last Jedi gave him confidence to be bold, because he said when he approached Force Awakens, he was a bit scared,
Yep.
because he was like, oh my God, I don't want to hurt these people,
That's right,
this
that's right.
part of the fandom. What if I do this and he hurts that part of the fandom? But he said, seeing what Rian Johnson did, like Rian Johnson made a film that was true to himself.
Yep.
He didn't make a film worried about what other people are going
That's
to
right.
think. He's a huge Star Wars fan, and he made a film that he wants to make. And now J.J. Abrams said that watching Last Jedi gave him the confidence to make a movie that he wants to make. That J.J. Abrams can, without overthinking it, he can just make a J.J. Abrams Star Wars film.
So full of lens flares, right?
Oh, definitely. I think, like 200 lens flares per scene, per
scene,
frame,
for sure.
But yeah, like jokes aside, so that's what we think J.J. Abrams,
Yep.
we want him to be bold, we want him to experiment a little bit, and I think he will. So let's dive into the story a little bit, right?
Sure.
So the biggest question mark, I would say, is, of course, what is going to happen to the Princess Leia character,
Yep.
right? Because
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie
is no
Fisher,
longer with us.
yeah, our dearest, Princess Leia, has passed away, and she passed away somewhere before the release of Last Jedi.
Yep.
And the thing is, her character in the movie is still alive. And the filmmakers have promised that they're not gonna use CGI to, like artificially recreate.
Which they have done with some of the past characters.
Yes. But and they have said that they're going to be using like old footage
Right.
to, like from Force Awakens and all that unused footage,
Yeah.
and sort of build her storyline and try to like,
Piece it together,
and stuff like that. So what are you hoping like Princess Leia's arc will be in this movie?
I hope there's something with her and Ben Solo or
Okay.
Kylo Ren.
You want a confrontation?
Yeah, I do. I think there should be one. Like
Okay.
we've always been very close. Like even with The Last Jedi, Kylo Ren has always been there, and she can feel him, he
Yes.
feels her, but there's never a confrontation.
Yes.
And I really like to see one
Yeah.
happen. But it doesn't have to end positively. It could end, with her, something happening to her or something happening to him. But as long as there's something with the two of them, I think. Yeah.
I think I would love to see that also, but I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Given because none of us have any idea what footage they have shot and all that. But like one of the best moments in Last Jedi is when Kylo Ren contemplates
Yep.
like, shooting like, his mom from the ship, but then, he just decides at the last second he's not going to,
Yep.
and then like his soldiers did it anyway. But one thing I don't want is, I don't want Princess Leia as a character to die in this movie, because like I know, like, because if Carrie Fisher was still alive, I think I wouldn't mind that. In fact, maybe I would want that. But now that Carrie Fisher has passed away in real life, I think keeping a character alive would be just like something very heartwarming, because that in story, I want her to basically, she's already, I want her to retire. She's basically already like, like there's that nice scene at the end of Last Jedi where she tells everyone like, what are you looking at me for? Follow him, pointing to Poe. So like she's basically like passing the torch to Poe. And I want her to have a couple of strong moments with Rey, like emotional moments. And I want her to basically ride off into the sunset, retire. And I want to know that whatever happens in the world of Star Wars, whether the good guys lose, they're probably not going to lose, but whatever, whether all the resistance members die and the galaxy explode or whatever it is, I want to know that Princess Leia is out there and she's safe.
True. Like now, if she does, die in the film, it might also seem like a move that's expected because Carrie Fisher isn't around anymore. And then if she dies, then everyone's like, okay, we expected that. And
yes,
it's a bit straightforward. Whereas if you let her live and do it stylistically, do it in a way that makes sense.
Yes, just I think to like just a short tangent, but I think it's related. I think the Fast and Furious franchise has never been great, but one thing they did amazingly is Paul Walker's the way they handled his, he literally drove off into the sunset and his character still lives. So like if you are a hardcore Fast and Furious fan and all, there is that spirit of Paul Walker still living in the background of the movies, although his character doesn't appear in the movies anymore, but that he has retired from the
somewhere
so-called
in that world. Yeah, he's there.
He's
still
and I think
behind the wheel.
Yes, and I think that is what pretty much they should do with Princess Leia as well. Okay, now another interesting character we should talk about, and that is Kylo Ren.
Right.
So, should Kylo Ren be redeemed?
The logical and straightforward answer would be yes.
Okay.
Because he hasn't really had a good character arc in any of the two previous films. It's
that is where I disagree with you, my friend.
No.
Okay.
It's
Go ahead.
Looking at his character arc so far, I'm as confused as he is in terms of the Force and what he should do. I am literally him. I am that guy in his TIE fighter just holding that switch. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this character. I don't know if he wants to be on the good side or the bad side.
And I think, to me, that's what's great about the character.
True, yeah.
Because to me, Kylo Ren is probably the most beautifully written, fleshed out character in all of Star Wars. I know that may be hyperbole. That is going to certainly rub a lot of people the wrong way. But if, let's say, we look at even Vader in the original trilogy, now remove the prequels out of the equation because when the original trilogy came out, the prequels are not there. Yeah. If you look at Vader as a character, he was just and he was more of an enigma. He was charismatic, he was badass, he was cool, he became an icon. But as a character, as a nuanced character, there wasn't much. But I think Kylo Ren, there's a lot to him, right? From the first movie where he comes off as this badass, he's very powerful and all that. But then when he removes the helmet, you see this, not kid, but you see this guy that is not as badass as he thinks he is. And he's a conflicted soul. He wants to be this. He, aspires to be his grandfather when his grandfather was at his peak of evilness, let's call it. But he also has the light keeps pulling back at him, and that's why I love how he has these emotions that he just cannot control. And I love that scene again, like with Princess Leia, like where he contemplates shooting her, but he doesn't. And then I love how at the end of the movie, or end of Last Jedi, he's just kind of lost it when he has a lot of ego and a lot of uncontrollable emotion when he faces off against Luke Skywalker. I don't think he should be redeemed because I love this kind of slow transition from first he killed Han Solo, and that to me is already unforgivable. But there was that moment where, like the Princess Leia moment. Yes. But then when that moment for him to choose between the light side and the dark was that phenomenal throne room scene where he kills Snoke. Yep. Yes. And when Rey catches the lightsaber, they look at each other for a second, they turn around and they start fighting the Praetorian guards. To me, that was phenomenal. I was cheering in the cinema. Kylo Ren is the favorite Star Wars character of mine. I hate him in the sense of he's a villain, but I love the character so much. So that moment was awesome. But he chose to go to the dark side. And whatever happened at the end with him, basically, he didn't know that Luke Skywalker was basically just a projection, right? Astral projection. He shot every single blaster at Luke. He tried to stab Luke with a lightsaber. That means at that point, to me, he is so far gone. His emotions have consumed him. His anger has consumed him. Everything has consumed him to the point where he cannot come back and shouldn't.
Yeah, you sort of see that in the trailer as well, like but he's not with Rey.
Yeah, that is the thing, So I know, but the thing is, the counter argument I would say is like people say that Star Wars is always about that wrestling match with the dark side and how people can always come back to the
light.
Good, to the light. So I don't know. I wouldn't be against him teaming with Rey, but because again, that scene in Last Jedi, that throne room scene is simply probably like my favorite Star Wars scene of all time. I like that feeling. I like the chemistry between Kylo Ren and Rey.
But you think no?
I don't want it.
Okay.
I think yes, but I don't want it.
All right.
Okay, so that's where I stand.
But from the trailer, what do you think will happen? Like,
I think he will. I think he will be redeemed, and I think the reason he will be redeemed is the final character we're going to talk about, and that is Palpatine.
All right.
Right? So what do you think is Palpatine's role in this movie?
Now that Snoke is gone,
Yeah.
you would think that he's going to be the new big bad, but I feel like it's going to be a twist. I feel like, yes, we don't really see in the trailer because you want to hold it back. You want to see it on screen. But that could also mean that he might not be the real big bad. I feel. Like, I sort of don't want it to be so straightforward. And like, okay, one guy's gone because he was unfortunately killed in Last Jedi, and so we just bring back an old bad guy and just make him the big bad.
Yeah, he's a very interesting character, this Palpatine, because you would think that after Return of the Jedi is just dead, right?
Yes.
But then, and you think there is like, just looking from trailer standpoint, he's like you said, it's like one big bad is gone. So J.J. Abrams is back and he's like, okay, I need another big bad, so let's just bring back Palpatine. But in interviews, they have said that they have wanted to bring back Palpatine since Force Awakens. That means it was part of their bigger plan. So I think they have something really, really interesting planned for Palpatine. It's difficult to say what it is, but I think that's how they might go with this whole Kylo Ren redemption angle, is that because Palpatine becomes this new big bad, the only way, I think two things might happen, right? The first thing is, I think more likely to happen is that because Palpatine is this huge big bad, so Rey and Kylo Ren need to team up to defeat Palpatine, right? Of course, it's going to be more interesting than that, but that's the broad idea. Another thing that I think would literally make everyone lose their minds, they have hinted at it in one of the things in the first trailer, if I'm not mistaken, or second trailer, I think it's the second one, the D23 trailer, is that Rey becomes bad.
Right.
She joins Palpatine. And so Kylo Ren has to be the one that saves the day, because from a loose bloodline standpoint, it also ties into the title. Kylo Ren is literally the only Skywalker. Of course, there's Princess Leia, but considering that Princess Leia is not going to play a huge role in the movie and it's going to be about this new set of characters, Kylo Ren is the only other remaining Skywalker or Skywalker-tied character.
And they've hinted for the longest time that Rey is probably sort of associated. She's close with the dark side. We've seen it in The Last Jedi, in that on the island. We've seen it in The Force Awakens.
It calls to her also.
Calls to her.
Yes.
So
and
that's probably,
I think what could be, because so here's what I read like a while back, is that there was a spec script or original idea that was just cut out from the movie, but then I think they might bring it back, is that in Force Awakens, there was a scene where in the script you see Luke Skywalker's hand flying across the galaxy, just floating in out of something like that, right?
Okay.
And the mystery that they brought out in Force Awakens, which I like how they answered the question in Last Jedi, but maybe it's not the whole truth or whatever, is the whole mystery of who is Rey, right? Yep. And what if there's this question that I don't know how I feel about this, but it's interesting, is that there's this fan theory that suggests that what if Rey is Palpatine cloned Rey from Luke Skywalker's hand. And that's why Rey is so powerful. And so Rey is a clone of Luke Skywalker, kind of like how like that X-23 is a clone of Wolverine. Kind of like that. Rey is a clone of Luke Skywalker, and Palpatine cloned her, and that's why Palpatine can control her, and that's why in the D23 special look trailer you see her igniting a lightsaber that is red.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, it's certainly something, isn't it?
Yes, I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah,
it definitely is possible.
Yes.
Hearing it now, but we don't want that to happen, do we? It's a bit too easy. We want.
I mean, is it though? Is it too easy? Because we would none of us really it's a fan theory, but I don't know. The thing is, to me, it's interesting, but I don't know. I really don't know, because what I want to see.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I want to see.
Sure.
It's not an actual prediction or anything.
Yeah.
I want to see Kylo Ren go full evil, because I would love this to be a beautiful arc of this guy who was conflicted, and how with each passing moment he wrestles with himself, but he loses the battle to the dark side and becomes this fantastic villain.
And more things about the Knights of Ren as well,
yes,
right? Yeah.
But then we do see a scene in the trailer where Kylo Ren is sort of fighting the Knights of Ren. Or at least we assume that's the Knights of Ren. So it's difficult. And that's what I love about it, right? I love about where Last Jedi left us. Whatever your thoughts on the movie are, is that you don't know what's going to happen in the next movie. It isn't as clear-cut, because all the standard fantasy tropes were basically obliterated by Rian Johnson, right? And you don't know where it's going to go. And the trailer, the genius of Star Wars trailers and Marvel trailers is that they hit your emotions without telling you what the plot is.
Right. It keeps you guessing as well.
Yes.
And I think that's the fun part. So we don't really know what will happen, but it's fun to guess. It's fun to make theories, and we'll see. December.
Yes. All right. So those are pretty much our thoughts and our expectations, and basically us just gushing about how excited we are about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, the final chapter in the Skywalker Saga. We can't wait for it. It's coming out in a few weeks. Oh my God. Can't wait. But those are our thoughts. Now it's time for your take. Let us know what you think by hitting us up on Twitter at @MovieDash. And if you like our podcast, be sure to subscribe to MovieDash on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. There's also a video version of this on YouTube for those of you who like to check out our not so beautiful faces. Also, if you'd like to follow both of us on social media, you can follow Jin at
Kraken Jin on Instagram.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @DashTalksMovies. Until next time, bye-bye.
May the Force be with you.
Always.